There are clearly cases where deterrence was not enough because, in fact, we have cases from the Cold War where deterrence didn't operate, right? There was not a deterrence, a relationship of nuclear deterrence in place. That is, the United States possessed nuclear weapons, but the adversary did not. So the Korean War from 1950 to 1953. And when you look at why nuclear weapons weren't used in these crises, there are a number of factors having to do with military and political consequences. But there are also moral considerations, and these connect to the taboo. Decision makers worried about how many civilians would be killed on the other side if they used nuclear weapons in the Korean War. And what's especially interesting is when you look at cases where the United States could have used nuclear weapons and there would have been no fear of retaliation. So this was in the first 10 years of the Cold War, say during the Korean War. Or in the Vietnam War, when the adversary was not nuclear armed. And so the United States could have used nuclear weapons without really worrying that there would be a retaliatory response with nuclear weapons. And in these cases, decision makers actually expressed concern about the vast civilian casualties that would be caused by a nuclear strike. And also the political cost, the outrage from allies, that there's lots of concern about what the allies would think if we, the United States, used a nuclear weapon again, or what would the effect be if we used a nuclear weapon again on Asians after the use on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So I think that the taboo did play an important role inhibiting decision makers from using nuclear weapons during the Cold War. And if the taboo had not existed, we might have had a different outcome in these Cold War crises.